Hey guys, gonna work on the FroKnowPhoto Raw Edit week number 47. We have a good image of Jared here taken by Adam. I'm gonna start it off in Camera Raw and do most of the work in Photoshop as usual. So let's get started. Alright, so the first thing I do is I open it up in Camera Raw. I like to use my profile correction, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Ooh. Wow, really took away some vignetting and a little bit of the barrel distortion. That's really good. Next thing I want to do is just like very simple, just kind of basic corrections. First thing I like is to change my white balance. Let's see, daylight, cloudy's, actually it's taking it a little too warm. Usually I like cloudy, but in this case I'm going to stick with daylight. Let's see, I think the exposure looks right on. Maybe I can pump up the blacks a little bit. Excuse me, my throat's a little weird. Maybe bump up the brightness just a tad bit. And the contrast. I'm going to do most of it in Photoshop anyway, so I'm just kind of doing basic little corrections. I think I'm going to go black and white too. I think this is a good one for doing black and white. So that's about all I'm going to do in Photoshop. Let's open up this image, holding down Shift to change this and open it up as a smart object so I can always return to Camera Raw if I need to make any other tweaks. I don't see me needing to this time, but just in case. So let's see what we got here. Ah, it looks good. He's semi-sharp. I mean, it's pretty sharp. It's really sharp unless you get this close, but you know, who's going to be looking at it that close? No one wants to see Jared that close up. Just kidding. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is... Well, the first thing I'm going to do is check and see if there's any sensor dust or anything that needs to be retouched out. It doesn't look like it. No, it looks pretty clean. I think I'm going to give it a slight crop though. Just because I feel like we can crop in about there at the bottom and maybe about there, just to make him just a little bit bigger in frame. I think it'll help kind of clean the image up. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good crop. Maybe move it over a little bit, but maybe around about there. I think that works. No tangents, no nothing. That looks pretty good. Next thing I'm going to do, wow, there's not a lot of actual corrections I want to do, because with guys, it's not like girls. You know, with girls you take away a lot of their blemishes and a lot of, you really kind of make up their faces. But with guys, you really don't have to do as much. I might do a little bit of healing just to see. Let's see if there's anything. Using my healing brush, you know, we can get rid of some of these, but in reality, you know, those are part of his face and we don't really need to, but you know, why not? Let's just do a little bit of work on him just so we have something to do, or else we're not going to do much to this image. Just, you know, just little dots here and there that we can clean up. He's got like a little dark spot right there, a little light spot right there. There's a little light spot right there that we can get rid of. Let's see, what else is there? Oh, this is a pretty clean shot. He's got pretty good skin. I wouldn't do too much to it. You know, maybe a little bit there, a little bit there. I think that's it. I mean, we could, if we wanted to, we could add a little makeup. I call it makeup, but it's really just airbrushing. Here we go. I call it makeup as my layer just because basically that's what it is. I'm going to take my airbrush tool at a very low flow, just 5% flow, because I want it to go in real slow, and then, you know, just select this, and maybe we can just paint a little bit around his, just to get rid of a little bit of these, you know, the normal bags under our eyes that we all have. You don't want to go too far because it will make it look a little fake. So I always, you know, put in a little too much, but then come back and lower my opacity and make sure you bring back some of the detail in there. I'll go with something like 70. And I think that helped. I think it just cleaned it up just a little bit so he doesn't look so tired, I guess. Okay, now I think I'm gonna go black and white. Now I have a way of doing my black and whites. I use gradient maps a lot, and that's how I'm gonna do this black and white. So bear with me. The first thing I'm gonna do is select a gradient map. I'm gonna use my black to white. So basically selecting the very black point and the very white point over here. And that converts everything to black and white. Now I do something where I like to duplicate that, and then my first one I like to put on luminosity because it'll give it a little punch. Let me show you what luminosity actually does. See, it gives it a little punch. Don't want that much. Hi Gizmo. You guys see Gizmo? That's my dog. Just gonna give it a little punch. And then take the black and white. I lost a little detail in the darks. His eyes got a little dark, but I can bring that back. I'm going to make a curve. Let's see. I'm going to make a curve to brighten everything up just a tad. Actually, I think I'm going to go about there. Let's make this one a kind of a pretty high. No, I don't want to contrast it too much. Just a little bit brighter. I do want to do... I know what I'm going to do. This will be interesting. I think his eyes got a little dark, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this curve, and just by duplicating it made everything blown out white, but I'm going to fill it all with black so that it actually is not affecting anything, and then mask out with an airbrush just around his eyes, and that will bring in some light into his eyes, and I'll show you in a second. I'll do it before and after so you can kind of tell what I did. Let's see. I'm just kind of airbrushing around the darkness of his eyes, and see how it lights them up? Yeah, see, that's a lot better. And I'm going to do one more duplication of that, make it black again so that it's not affecting it, and I'm just going to do his eyes. Bring some of the whites in his eyes and then some of the catch lights in his eyes in there. I think that'll help. Yeah, see, that'll bring out his eyes just a little bit. What else do I want to do? You know what? I think I'm going to go super sharp, since, you know, Jared is the master, or the be-all, end-all, be-all of making everything super sharp. I'm going to take these 3 layers, duplicate them, merge them into one layer. So I have everything in one layer, so everything that's underneath is now on one layer. And I'm going to do a high pass filter. So filter, other high pass, and I'm going to do about 2. And that white that you see is from those curves that are up top, but it won't affect it once I actually do it. See, this will, and once I put it on overlay, I'll show you guys what I'm doing. See, it'll sharpen everything up a little bit. Yeah, see, okay, so I'm going to go real sharp, but I'm going to go real sharp on just him. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, this is my high pass sharpen layer. It's double. Okay, high pass sharpen layer. I'm going to duplicate that, and it's really going to go real. Yeah, see, now it's going real punchy, real sharp. But I don't want to sharpen the background too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a mask again, fill it with black so that it doesn't affect anything, and just do mask this out so it's just affecting Jared himself. So basically what I'm doing is I'm adding white to this mask just on Jared, so it'll sharpen him up way up. It'll sharpen him way up. Look at this. It's just gonna, you're gonna notice that it's gonna sharpen him, but it's not affecting our background. Yeah, I like that. Okay, let me maybe even duplicate that. Yeah, just go wild with the sharpening there. I like that. I think I'm gonna be pretty happy with this. You know what? I'm gonna do one more gradient map, and this gradient map I'm gonna do like a. I have this blue gradient map. Let me try something. I want to knock that blue way down to like maybe 10%. 10%. No, maybe it's gonna have to be more, maybe 20%. Yeah, see, okay, so instead of like just pure black and white, pure gray, I'm going to give it a little bit of a bluish tint just to give it a little, I'm going to bring it down to 15 because I don't want too much. Just to give it a little bit more life. Instead of just black and white, it'll have a little bit of a bluish tint. It'll make it feel a little more platinum. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm wondering if I can add a, bear with me here. Just going to add a little bit of, oops, sorry. I'm going to make a white gradient coming down from the top. That's way too much, obviously, but, you know, knock back the opacity, move it back, knock back the opacity. And I just wanted to kind of hint at light coming from the top. That looks kind of cool. And I can reshape that, transform, and I could add some like actual lights, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to leave that there. And then I think what I'm going to do last is I'm going to add a vignette. And I tend to add my vignettes just by airbrushing them in, just because that's the way I work. So I select an airbrush at 5% flow, and I just go real soft on the edges. Just paint it in however I feel it needs it, you know. Because I can always, that's the beauty of this, I can always take my opacity down and see, you can actually see it working there. And you can also always mask it if you, like I'm gonna take off the, because over here there was a lot that bright light, so I don't need the vignette over there, but I can add the vignette on all the other sides. Maybe even mask it off a little bit over here. And I think I'm liking where that's going. I might add some noise just to like really make this. I tend to do a gray layer, 50% gray. If you hit Shift Delete, it brings up your fill dialog box, and you have the option of doing foreground, background, 50% gray. So I put on 50% gray, hit OK. It'll fill it with 50% gray. And then if you go to filter, add noise, and it's kind of hard to see, but let me show you. Basically, if you were to add a ton of noise, it would add a ton of noise. But I'm going to add somewhere around like 5% or something, or 5% noise. See how that looks, and then hit OK. And then once you put that on overlay for your layer, it'll just apply the noise, but it won't apply all the gray. So actually, it didn't add too much. So maybe I can duplicate that. Yeah, that added some. It'll just finesse that noise up. You know, see if you can see that. Yeah, you can see that. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I think that's gonna be my edit, guys. Pretty simple edit this week because it was a great shot, nice and clean, pretty sharp. And I hope you enjoyed it, and see you next week.